All right, I now call the special school board meeting for Forest Lake Area Schools to order Thursday, October 30th. Please join us while we recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Member Clerk, will you please take the roll call of attendance?
Sure. Member Rebbeline.
Here.
Member Corcoran.
Here.
Member Haglund is gone.
No longer a member.
Yeah.
Member Antonsen is here. Member Castle.
Here.
Member Christensen.
Here.
And Member Tyson.
Here.
All right,
All
we're
right.
at full strength. That brings us to approving the meeting agenda. I would entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. This is a special meeting, so there is no possibility for making any amendments, but is there any discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? All right, the motion carries. All right, that brings us to scheduled and unscheduled visitors. We do not have any green cards this evening, so I'll move straight into action items. Action item 5.1, determine the process and the timeline for filling the board vacancy following the resignation of member Luke Haglund effective October 24th, 2025. I guess we'll just kick this off with, there's a couple of different things that we need to solidify this evening. We voted last week to move to an application process. So if it pleases the board, we can start with the school board director application that you see in front of you. I believe there are other copies on the table there if any member in the gallery would like to look at it. But if that seems all right, we can start with that.
Sure.
Okay, we will start with that. I'll give board members an opportunity to review that, and then we can just have some discussion. While the board's getting the opportunity to review the application here, I'll just let the public know that this application came largely from the Minnesota School Boards Association. Dr. Massey and his administration team worked on it a little bit, sent a proposal to me. I worked with member Corcoran to finalize some of the questions that are on the application here as well, and then made other board members aware of what they would be seeing this evening. So that's where this template comes from. And once board members have had a chance to review it, we'll move into discussion and determine if we need to make any changes to this or if this will be the final application that we'll put in front of the public.
So I don't have a calendar in front of me, but let's see, November 21st, is that 3 weeks? I don't have
Are
my,
you on the timeline already?
Yeah.
or sorry, I just.
3 weeks
yeah.
from tomorrow? Is that what it is?
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks from tomorrow.
3 weeks from tomorrow,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
kind of dictates.
So we were starting with the application, and if there aren't any questions or comments on the
Oh, sorry.
application, we can
Oh.
move to the timeline.
I did, I'm sorry. I just turned my page over, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I am, I understand, Mr. Chair, how you would have your email address on there if you had any questions, but I don't know, I feel like I wonder, since it's a process that belongs to all of us, that maybe if people have questions, they could direct it to our whole school board address.
we
And
can do
then
that.
leave Joy as, as a, but maybe instead of you, just the, whatever ours is, school
The
board.
school board alias?
Yeah, the school board that comes to all of us.
Yeah, that
And-
seems reasonable to me.
And then also, I understand what you're saying here with the please include a current professional resume. I mean, I understand that, but I would also say not everyone has just a resume on hand that's updated and ready to go. So I wonder if, could we say something like, resume is appreciated, or whatever word you want to, I mean, if someone,
Or
Could they just
Or do we just throw like
Write
an if possible?
Yeah, or
Or-
something like that. 'Cause
Or
I-
share a resume, but
Yeah.
3 sentences describing your work history.
Yeah, or something like that, instead of a professional resume, maybe like you just said, recent work history if you don't have a resume, or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, you know, not,
Resume is preferred.
yeah, not everyone has a resume at the ready. And
Okay.
I wouldn't want that to be a reason to stop.
So let's do this in the, at the top, we don't have any official motions on this yet. We'll just make some amendments here. If you have any questions, contact, and then we'll strike my name, title, and email address, and we'll just replace that with school board at Flaw Schools.
Yeah,
School board at Flaw Schools. I think that makes a lot of sense. I like that idea. And then at the very end, where we have, please include a current professional resume with your application, we'll add, if possible, at the end of that.
Or describe your
Yeah.
Or like
recent work
what- yeah.
experience.
please include
Pertinent work
professional
experience.
resume if possible, or recent pertinent
Work
work
experience
information, you know, or
or-
something like that.
Volunteer, I mean, they could be working or volunteering,
Yeah.
or whatever. You could say past, what do you want to say? What do you want to call it?
Work experience.
Or
Work
even just
volunteer
recent,
experience.
yeah, recent work
activity
slash
experience.
Volunteer
volunteer
experience, because some people are,
Yeah.
maybe that's
Mhm.
what they do. So,
Yeah, I think something like that.
What do you think, Gail? Yeah?
Could just be briefly describe your work experience and/or include a resume.
Yeah. Doesn't, yeah.
That pertains to,
Mhm.
Well, I mean, all of it, Matt, you know, it's, if they're 20 and they've worked jobs in town that are not, you know, professional or whatever,
Mhm.
that still matters.
is the statute 21
21, yeah. I think,
I believe so.
for
Yeah.
elected officials?
Hold on, let's get this one solved first.
So
Yep.
if
How
I
about-
can offer a suggestion.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, please list professional qualifications and background, or include a resume.
Yeah.
I think Dr. Massey nailed it.
Mhm,
Thank you.
mhm.
Okay, looks like we have consensus around that as well. Okay, so now let's, Mark, you mentioned the age 21, unless there was more on that. Okay, we'll go to 21. I believe it's, that one came from MSBA, so I will look at that. There is a
It does list at least 21 on the MSBA document.
okay.
sources,
Oh, yeah, it's on the back.
legal requirements for school board members. Yes, you must be at least 21 years of age.
Mhm.
Could we also say on that fourth bulletin, I do not have any employment relationship? You could have an
Yes.
employment relationship, but it has to be whatever the,
Less than $20,000, yeah.
that.
Yeah, Dr. Massey had actually made that suggestion on his original draft, and I removed it because it started getting really long.
Well, it does get long, so
But,
maybe, yeah, I don't know how to fix that, but, I mean, you could have, if you
Just
work
take out-
part-time, you're able to be on the school board,
Let me,
or you're under a certain dollar amount.
I'm going to try to pull up the, oh, did I have that as a PDF from you? Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the earlier version here where Dr. Massey had that spelled out.
Maybe you could say, I do not have any full-time employment relationship, or something like that.
Well,
or-
let's go back to, okay, if we go back to MSBA here, they state, and I think we can maybe add this, I do not have an employment relationship with ISD 831 where I expect to make over $20,000 as an employee in this fiscal year.
I know that's kind of wordy, but, I mean, it is.
It is kind
it's
of wordy,
true.
but yeah. Did you
I'll
capture
spell
that,
it
Joy?
out.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have consensus around that change as well?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think we need to specify that.
And that would be listed in lieu of, I do not have any employment relationship.
Yeah,
Will
it would basically be reverting it back to,
Yeah.
I think, the MSBA language, which I just, I truncated just because it got so wordy,
Yeah.
but I think that that's an important distinction there,
Yeah.
Member Christensen. Yes, okay, so the original document, I am not under contract to have an employment relationship with the school district that exceeds $20,000 in a fiscal year. Does that work? Okay, yeah, thank you, Joy. All right. Member Tyson?
So I just wanted to add that I wasn't opposed to providing a resume, and I do agree that some people might not have one. I think that when you look under the data privacy considerations, a lot of that stuff falls under a resume. You know,
Yep.
volunteer work, awards, past history, trainings. People might not have degrees or whatever, but they might have training as a guardian ad litem. You know, there's just a variety. So I wasn't opposed to a resume. I think it kind of encapsulates all of that information that we'd like to read. And I think it's also important that people can then note if they've had public or private sector work, which was part of MSBA's that I liked. And then, I mean, you guys have all gone around with that, and I'm fine with what you've already decided. But I also think that somewhere in here, it could be under 3 or it could be under 2 to just include volunteer roles, because I think a lot of people do a lot of wonderful volunteer opportunities that aren't paid, and they're not, you know, always leadership roles, but volunteering is so important. That's something we embrace with our school district and our student population. So.
Did we not put that in the
Community
last question?
involvement.
I thought we added that in the last question, maybe I missed it.
I don't
Yeah, I
think
don't see
we had
it.
it there, but I wonder on second question if,
Yeah.
please describe your background and experience with community involvement, including volunteer experience.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to
Yeah, it says
recommend.
community involvement, but maybe it could
No,
be like.
and then add a
And we
piece
would add
including volunteer
including.
experience.
Yep.
Would that
Great.
cover it?
I think that sounds good, and something to include for sure.
It's important.
All right. I'm seeing consensus around that as well.
Yes.
So yes, let's add that as well. Very good idea, Member Tyson. And you mentioned data privacy considerations. One thing that the MSBA had on their model document was the data privacy consideration with a brief summary on Minnesota Statute 13.601, which specifically calls out what data becomes public data. I didn't have that in my proposal here, and Dr. Massey hadn't either, so I didn't even really bring it up, but you make a good point. Do we want to spell this out to applicants so they know beforehand when they submit this as part of the application, or is that just a supplemental we could give them?
Perhaps reference the statute. If there's question, if you have concerns about data privacy, please refer to Minnesota statute XYZ.
That seems reasonable to me. Is that specific enough for you, Joy? Okay.
Yeah, we could do that. Just taking it back half a step, the suggestion of having an added component and an addendum,
Yeah.
just as a notice, would be easy enough to do as a second page to this that goes with the paper handout if somebody takes a paper
Really?
copy.
Real brief.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or if it's electronic, it'd just be an addendum as a notice of what information they provide that would be considered public.
So with that in mind, why don't we go with the data privacy consideration notification that's in the MSBA PDF template? It's really simple. It just states under Minnesota Statute 13.601, the following information about applicants is public data. And then there are 9 statuses here. It's name, city of residence, education and training, employment history, volunteer work, awards and honors, prior government service, any data that's required to be private or that are voluntarily provided in an application for an appointment to a multi-member agency pursuant to section 15.0597. And then there's it's in parentheses, it says does not apply to school board, so I don't know if that is relevant or not. And then veteran status is also something here. So that notice seems like it'd be easy enough to add to that.
We'll add it.
All right, I see consensus around that as well. Any other discussion, or does this look like an application that we can support?
Yes, I move to approve.
Move to approve the application. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the application as we've just discussed and as presented here. Any further discussion on the application? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, we have an application.
I do have a question, Member Chair, on the
Yes.
process of the application. I've been on search committees before for recent principals in the district, and you have to ask everybody the exact same question. So does that apply here? You know, the search committee gets, their list of questions, and you're supposed to ask, so it's fair. So you're asking everyone the same question. So I'm wondering how this works. So like, you can ask them a question, and then are you allowed to ask follow-up questions based on that question? Or what rules apply that we keep this fair amongst all of the people that we're interviewing?
So when we
This
get,
is online, right?
Yeah,
Or they're gonna
well-
pick it up, or it's online? This
Correct.
isn't us asking them?
well, this is just the initial
Yeah.
application
Yeah.
process,
Mhm.
but
Are you
I,
talking about later?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Once this was approved, excuse me,
Okay.
then I was jumping
For the
forward to
interviews.
questions. So yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry. It's two things. We
Later
got
in
this
the-
approved, and then I was jumping forward to the questions.
yeah, so later in the process, when we get to the interview stage, from what I've experienced with other boards that have done this, and from what I've seen and what the statute says, we have a lot of latitude over what we do and what questions are asked. So I don't know of any legal precedents unless Dr. Massey is aware of it.
No, I don't think there are legal precedents, but I think there's some good practices that we'd want to apply. Identifying the questions in advance, sticking to those questions, everybody working through those questions versus ad-libbing or throwing additional questions. Those are things that can be determined at a future date,
Yeah.
but I think there's some protocols that we'd want to put in place.
And I think that would make sense for on the proposal here, if we start looking at the timeline, that would be the December 4th interview. I think that makes a lot of sense, Member Christensen.
I guess I could have put that back over here on the timeline,
Good. That was actually going to be my
What the
question. Do we want to
question-
move to are we ready to move to the timeline?
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, so we're actually already 2 meetings into the timeline here. October 23rd has already occurred, and October 30th is what we're doing right now. So I can't really have any amendments to that, but anything underneath that, oh, wait, this actually says, the sheet that we had printed out has a different date than what I initially intended. My intent was that the applications would be due on Thursday, November 20th at
Yes.
4 p.m. That way we would have all of the applicants by the time we meet on the November 20th board meeting.
Oh, yeah.
So we would know at least how many there are.
Yep, we would at least
That
be
would
able
be
to get
good
a little
information.
update. We could have a
Yeah.
brief discussion on that if needed. But then when we're assembling the subcommittees as stated on November 20th, right after that, we would at least have an idea then. Because if, let's say we get 3 applicants, we probably don't need to select finalists. We can probably just move straight into the finalists and we just go through the vetting process. But say we get 30 applicants, then I think the subcommittee process makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So if we know the exact number of applicants by the time we go into the November 20th board meeting, I think that would be advantageous. So, Member Tyson.
One quick question. I've been wondering about when we post the vacancy, we're obviously posting in our paper, our designated paper, which is the Forsyth Times, and then on our website, but how do we intend to reach our outlying areas with that posting? I mean, I'm not sure we can't push it out through our communications, I assume.
That would go only to our own families. It wouldn't go to the general public.
Right, but there are probably parents that are pretty engaged and involved that might be interested in this opportunity, that live in outlying areas of our district that might not even hear about it. I mean, I don't know what other ideas.
There's no reason we couldn't do that.
Well, I mean.
So we
if
could
you
do that then.
put-
Yes.
Yeah, I think that might be a
Into-
good idea.
Are you referring to like Friday communications that go out from the school?
The
or just
Blackboard
from-
communication tool,
Yeah.
the electronic communication tool,
put-
What Renee does.
yeah.
Renee
Yeah, and
would
we-
craft it and
Right.
put it out.
And when
I'm
we-
just afraid we're gonna hear that, wow, I didn't even know that occurred, because we do have such a geographically large district that puts some people in those outlying areas.
And to
at a
that point, Member
disadvantage.
Tyson, I would actually recommend that we don't do it in a regular Friday communication,
Mhm.
that
It'd be
we have
something.
Dr. Massey spend a special notification out that states that we're looking for a new board member. This is going to be the process. Applications are going to be accepted until such and such a date. Here's how you go through that. And then it's a different email. It's special. It doesn't get buried at the bottom of something.
Mhm.
Good idea.
Yeah, and I
Member
know,
Corcoran.
we'd also talked about Pioneer Press or the Star Tribune, or even like outline papers like is it Scandia Messenger, or I don't know.
Yeah,
all the
there's
out-
press
Yeah,
publications, but
if they're,
Yeah.
I mean, we have Forest Lake Times, but do we want to reach out to the suburbs?
I would prefer, if we can, just
Just send it out to
send
them.
it out through our communications, through our communications director, Renee Reedy, or whatever.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I would definitely say we keep it in the Forest Lake Times because they are
Oh, yeah.
the newspaper that we selected in January as our,
Yeah, I would.
Our official newspaper.
thank you.
Just
Yeah,
didn't know if we
that's-
wanted it to go.
You know, there's a lot of parents that go in and out of schools too. I mean,
Post
do
it.
the schools put something on there? I don't know. I mean, is that,
I think if we did Blackboard, every family would
Yeah.
receive it directly
yeah.
Yeah.
through that
Well,
tool.
yeah, yeah, I think that's probably good enough too. I mean, I don't know how you get it out to everybody within 3 weeks, and not everybody's gonna see it even in
So we
2 months, so.
would post the vacancy and application process on the district website. We would also do a Blackboard notification to all families. There would be an announcement in the Forest Lake Times published on November 5th, and
I think we could add the 12th.
I was
There's a
just going to
2-week window
suggest
there.
that, yep.
Okay.
And on the 12th, and then that will give people adequate time to apply by the 20th. The only other thing that I had in my mind for a notification is if there'd be a benefit to adding it to the Forest Lake, like, social media account and posting it there, or if it would just get lost in the minutia.
So, I don't know. That would be my opinion, that it kind of would just get buried in the feed.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? Member Christensen?
I think the Forest Lake Times is great, and I think a special notification to the email, to the families. So even if you're not a parent or your kids have graduated or whatever, people will be talking about it in the community. You might hear it from someone who is a parent. I mean, there's no way we're gonna catch everybody. And, social media might just invite, comments or whatever. I mean, I think, this is a professional board. Just keep it with the email notification and the paper, and perhaps we're talking to people that we know might be interested. The word is gonna get out organically like that, I think, so.
For sure.
All right.
Okay, so I think we've settled on,
I have one
oh,
question.
go ahead.
Will that Blackboard communication go out on the 5th and the 12th as well?
It will probably go out tomorrow or Monday. We can send that out
Again.
soon. We can do it more than once.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea too.
Should we do it? Let me look at the calendar here. Excellent point. Today is the 30th, so what if we had it go out on the 3rd, the 10th, and the 17th? I feel like over notification is better than under notification.
Mm-hmm.
Or is 3 too many?
I might suggest 2, but
So maybe
I'll
the,
do it too.
maybe the 3rd and the 12th.
It's the 12th of Wednesday.
The 12th is Wednesday, yeah. And the 3rd is a Monday.
Yep.
Or we could even do, if applications are opening tomorrow morning, we could do the 31st and the 12th.
We would shy away from Fridays because that's when all the school announcements are going out, and we don't want to
Excellent
lost
point.
in those messages.
All right, how do we feel about the email notifications going out on the 3rd and the 12th?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
All right, I see a
Sounds
unanimous
good.
consent on that one as well, so we'll leave that to administration to solidify that. And then the announcements in the Forest Lake Times will be scheduled for publication on the 5th and the 12th as well. Which makes sense to me, because I don't even I get my newspaper on Thursdays from the Forest Lake Times, so the application process would be closed by then.
So the Forest Lake Times makes it to everywhere in the district?
No,
Who
it's a paid
subscribes.
subscription.
Well, right, but do they deliver to Linwood?
Yeah. I
Do
would
they
imagine.
deliver
Yeah.
to
If
Lino
you're a
Lakes?
subscriber.
They have,
If you're a subscriber.
I'm an online person.
yeah, there's a legal requirement, I have to go back and look at the statute on this, but there's a circulation requirement for every newspaper in order to be your official newspaper, and the Forest Lake Times meets that circulation requirement, which is why we've selected them as our official newspaper, so I kind of see where you're going with this. It's a great question, but I think we meet that threshold
Okay.
for that to be an adequate announcement.
And then what if we recommend to folks to post, if they want to print out a copy of the notice and post it in different areas for people that don't get a paper?
What are your thoughts on that?
Just to have a recommendation on the notice to
Oh, to share.
distribute that information to those who might not get the paper. Or get the email from the school district because their students are graduated or,
What are your thoughts on where that could be posted? Do you think?
wherever they would want to post them. I mean, some people might go to a city hall communication board. They might go to a church. There's places to post at a pizza joint. I mean, there's all kinds of places that
Right.
people could
I
post.
get that, that's a good idea, but who would be in charge of posting those?
They wouldn't, it was just a
Whoever gets it
recommendation to,
there.
if you would,
Oh.
if you would be willing to,
To whomever?
yes.
Okay.
Or even like the word of mouth, what people were talking about, people will get and talk. So, and some people might not
Mhm. I know.
meet and talk with that many people, so they could post it somewhere. Put a sign on their car, drive around.
You could
Put a
deliver
sign on the
them.
bus.
I thought maybe you were volunteering to deliver them and post them.
No, that feels to me like something we would add to the Blackboard notification, just an encouragement to share with friends or family.
Yes, encourage them to
Something
share,
that
yes.
simple.
That's a good idea.
Okay, I think we'll leave that to Dr. Massey to wordsmith that as part of that email notification that goes out. Okay.
I'm assuming the email notification is gonna say this would be an appointment through next.
Oh, the
The
Yeah.
application
Yeah.
process.
Yeah,
Yep.
The terms.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
yep, the terms of that.
I'll be in there.
Yep, which would be part of the notification that you would get when you get the application too, is it would lay out that
Oh.
the term of the appointment that goes through January of 2027.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yep. All right, does anything else look like we need to go over it as far as dates here, or are people comfortable with this proposal?
Looks good to me.
I'm good.
All right, in that case, I would move to approve the board vacancy process and timeline as presented and discussed.
So moved?
Second.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second on that. Any additional discussion?
Are you, Mr. Chair, are you circling back to the committee process or further conversation on selection of nominees or applications?
So the way we laid it out in this document here is that we would assemble the 2 or 3 subcommittees, each to select the candidate to be interviewed by the board on the 20th, which I think it's to our benefit to leave that open at this point, because if we have 4 nominees, we may not need the subcommittees if we have 14, 20, we may want them. So I'd hesitate to get too concrete on what we're going to do there. And I think I like the way it's presented in this document here to leave that open-ended.
I like that idea as well.
Or we could choose how we want to handle it and then if we need it, we already have it and don't have to add more discussion. November 20th, we'll, maybe be ready to discuss other things. So if we
Yeah.
have the subcommittee is ready to go, that's just one less thing that we'll have to do at that meeting. Just,
True.
But were we referring mainly to 2 or 3
Right.
subgroups of 2 people or 3 people,
Mhm.
based
Yeah.
on how many we get,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to.
Yep.
Said I like leaving that option open,
Mm-hmm.
seeing how many we
Yeah.
get.
Yeah, I
Maybe-
think the number of
yeah.
applicants could really
That'll
tilt
drive-
our thinking on that one.
That'll drive what we do.
I think that's
Yeah.
fine. Maybe, Member Chair, just for the people here who might not know what you were thinking about that, we've,
Yeah, I
you
can-
phoned us to tell us about it.
Yeah, I can
but
share,
if,
I can share the idea, the proposal that I had here was that I've looked at a lot of different school boards across the state and how they've handled this, and it's gone a couple of different ways. Either they've gotten 2 or 3 applicants, or even in some cases 1, and then the decision becomes very easy. The board sits down and discusses that applicant and then moves to a resolution in those cases. Or there's been the other scenario where they've gotten 12 or 14 or even as many as 25 different applicants. And in those cases, you can't bring everybody in for an interview and talk to them, and it's really not in their benefits, it's not in the board's benefits, it's not in the district's benefit to do that. So the proposal was that we would take the 6 of us board members here, and we would divide ourselves into either 2 or 3 subcommittees to each select a finalist to bring to the table. And the subcommittees that would be, they would each bring a finalist to the table. And then there would be an additional finalist selected by district voters. And the way that process would work is there would be 4 individuals that would be eligible for the voters' selection. And all of those 4 individuals were on the 2024 ballot. They all ran for an election, and they all received a certain number of votes. So the individual with the highest number of votes in the 2024 election would become the voters' candidate. And that way, the board would have input. All 6 of us, we would either select 2 or 3 finalists for interview, depending on how many applicants we have and how many subcommittees we have. And the voters would get a choice in the process as well, although their choice would have happened 2.5 years ago. No, 1 year ago. It happened 1 year ago. So the voters got a look at the 8 candidates for election a year ago, and they all voted on who they felt should be on the board. And that gives the voters some input on this process as well, because that would be one of the individuals that we would interview at the end. And if, say, all 4 of them applied, the other 3 that were the lower vote getters, and I see one of them in the audience this evening, that individual would have an opportunity to be selected by one of the subcommittees and be a finalist as well. So it doesn't exclude anybody, but it gives the voters a little bit of a say in at least who the finalists are for the appointment process.
And the application would be required for any of those on the
Absolutely.
ballot.
Yes. Yep, the application would be required for that. And it's not on here, but one of the things I did share with board members is that if we did break into subcommittees, I would ask that each subcommittee would supply the name of their proposed candidate by December 1st, so that would be able to be presented on the public agenda that gets posted that day. So the public would know between December 1st and December 4th who would be interviewed and how that process would fall out on the 4th. So maybe we would add December 1st, that the committees would make it known who they had selected for an interview. Were there
By
any-
what date did you say? I'm sorry?
December 1st.
December
Yeah,
1st.
because December 1st,
Okay.
the proposed agenda is made possible, or made available to the public.
Yes.
So then they
okay.
would see it on their agenda, they would see that, this subcommittee picked candidate A and this
Okay.
subcommittee picked candidate C. Something along those lines, so they would have, at least have a couple of days to provide input before the board meeting on the 4th, when we would go through the interview and the selection process. Were there any
Okay.
additional questions, comments on that, Member Tyson?
So I just wanted to add that we know that the statute leaves a lot of decision-making at the local level, which is what we're kind of hammering out and what we're doing right now. I do agree with the idea, since it was a recent election, that we include the vote-getting people that were next in line, but like the superintendent pointed out, they proceed in the same arena, in the same format, the application process, the interview process, and all of that. So we're kind of navigating our way, and I think so far it sounds like a great path,
Awesome.
and
Well, and
be
to the-
equitable for everybody.
And to that point, Member Tyson, if none of those 4 individuals who ran in the last election were to apply,
Yeah.
then there simply wouldn't be an individual in the voters' selection, and we would just work off of what the subcommittee appointments are. So it's kind of complex, kind of nuanced in that manner, but
Little
I think it's pretty straightforward. I think it's pretty fair. The community gets a chance to provide input. All 6 board members get a chance to provide input, and we don't end up with 19 people in front of us to interview.
I guess I do have a question. On December
Yeah.
4th, it says about the interview selection, that this must be done at the first meeting of the month?
Yeah, that was something that,
Why?
that was a directive that Dr. Massey got from MSBA.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that's their interpretation of the statute. The statute is a bit vague on that, but that's their interpretation.
Well, that's fine. I was just wondering in case, for some reason, things get pushed back, or, if it, for whatever reason, if, then you can't do it the second meeting of the month, if something, just a clarifying question, I guess. That's all.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a recommendation here because the statute actually reads that any vacancy on the board must be filled by board appointment at a regular or special meeting. So I kind of question the directive that we got from MSBA on that one, but it doesn't mean we can't follow that advice anyway. But Member Christensen, you make an excellent point that if we have to move it to a special meeting, or if we have to reschedule it, that really kind of locks us in. So what I would suggest, I'm going to make a motion by unanimous consent here, to amend this to read that December 1st, the subcommittee selections would be due to the district office, and that we strike, this must be done at the first meeting of the month. And if we don't have an objection to that, we'll just go ahead and make that adjustment, because we do have a motion on the table here.
Yes.
And I'd also suggest, since we're going through this and it's getting kind of messy, that unless there's an objection, we suspend all rules on limitations and discussion. Okay, both of those look like they went through. So is there any other discussion or any other suggestions that we want to make on the proposed timeline here?
So
Just
we're
a just a typo. December is
Yeah.
mentioned twice, December 5th / December January 5th. Is that a typo, that second December?
Thank you.
Okay, that's clerical, so we don't need a motion around that.
Oh.
We'll just correct that.
So we are striking, this must be done at the first meeting of the month.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, we just did that by unanimous
Yeah.
consent. Member
Well, I just
Corcoran?
have a question regarding the timeline as far as the rules from MSB. Is there a guideline where we have to have someone appointed or in the seat by a certain amount of time? Is there a rule about that? I'm
No,
just
the statute uses the language that the board must appoint.
Okay.
So that would suggest that the board doesn't have the prerogative to just settle in at a 6-member board. They have to make the effort and engage a process to appoint
Okay.
to a full board, 7-member board.
Okay.
The statute also identifies a 30-day window waiting period. They use that language for when that selected person would actually take their seat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are the specifics within the statute.
Okay, I just didn't know if there was
Correct.
like a timeline that they were telling us to do.
No.
So, okay.
Nope, this, as Dr. Massey mentioned, the statute doesn't claim or isn't directive about how soon we have to get it done.
Okay.
It's just directive that we must do it. And the 30-day window is left there to give the public the opportunity to petition or to object to the appointment that is made. So that is the reason for the 30 days. In that 30 days, just like when all of us were elected for the very first time, we would be able to go through some onboarding, and that is mentioned in here, December 5th to January 5th, that orientation process would occur. Of course, they would not be a full board member at that point, so they would have access to no private data. It would just be the onboarding portion of understanding what it means to be a board member. The benefit of that date is that there will be MSBA training available in the month of December, so they would have the opportunity to do that. And then January 3rd, they would be able to take their official oath of office, become a sworn-in board member, and then in our January 8th board meeting, they could do the ceremonial swearing in, because they would be a full voting member at that point. All right, any other discussion on the board vacancy process and timeline? All right, seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that motion carries as well. We've got our application process, we've got our vacancy process and timeline, so I believe that we have satisfied the requirement in the special meeting. So the only thing that would be remaining would be a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All right, motion and a second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? We are adjourned.